And game number 2 is going to be played with the same gods, but on a bit different map, and it's going to be Marsh. So it should be pretty aggressive matchup as well, basically the same as we have seen on the first map on a highland, and let's see how it will develop for us. Let's right now start, for example, with Adhafang, who is yet again, right now placing the lure a bit better than last time around, because it has some kind of minimal range, so it won't really target those animals in here. It should be gathering something else. I'm fairly certain it's gonna get some extra ostriches from here, and unfortunately there's not much else to steal, as the hunt in the middle is quite far away, so I'm yet again quite afraid that it's going to be pilfering his own units, or rather his own food, like the hippos on the left, and the ostriches in here on the right side, or rather cranes. So yet again, but unfortunately this time it's nothing that he could have actually done about it. You hope that the food is going to be slightly better, and this map is really bad for him, like really bad, because he doesn't have safe food, and he will have to play quite aggressively in here. And well, he is targeting a crocodile into the lure with the crane coming there as well. And there is, oh no, Adhafang. He actually lost starting piggies. Oh, that's the first. And spy on a piggy. Oh, we are seeing all kinds of weird things in here. First, actually stolen piggies, starting piggies. This is something that I haven't really seen yet, I think, in the games that I'm casting. But they are going to be stolen, but at least for Adhafang, so that's one big advantage of having a scout. Well, this was really nicely played by Symptom, and I'm kind of certain that he actually tried that. He wanted to cast the spy as soon as possible, and well, the piggies were in there, free for the taken. He at least gave it a shot. It didn't work out, but still. Justin and the scout, the spy, on the pig. That's yet again something I really haven't seen yet, I think. Really curious indeed things happening on this map. Otherwise, to finish with the thought that the map is actually pretty bad for Adhafang on the food department. Symptom is having a nice hunt in here, but he's already using piggies from the front of his base, the wild boars in here, and basically all the food in the middle is kinda skewed towards this side of the map. So this will be a pretty big advantage for him, and it's going to be hard for Adhafang to somehow survive with this kind of map for him. Looking at the golds, one big gold behind the base for both of these players, so that's not really a problem for either of them. The rest of the gold in the middle, but with the one gold mine, I think it's going to be pretty much fine for the duration of the game, as I don't expect that this game should be all that long, as I'm expecting that Adhafang will be forced into quite heavy offensive. Temple, or rather, cheaper temple research costs, not bad. Yet again, cheaper walls and gates, and third relic is for, oh, better cavalry speed, oh my, for Poseidon, that's a nice one. And has he actually discovered it? Yes, he has, so he knows exactly where to go, and I'm fairly certain that he will be building Theseus before he advances into the next age, just to get this relic, and potentially to prevent any kind of early raiding from his opponent, but really, this is a super important relic for him, and kind of a game changer in here. And the last relic for better towers, which is yet again a reason why to go for Theseus before advance and steal a relic for himself. Going for the one on the right, exactly. This is just a must-have for him. And Symptom, he knows about all the relics in here, and so far he isn't going there because he has built inside his home base, as he's going to force it into the next age, and doesn't have the extra hearses yet, so he's going to be slightly slower, and this relic is most definitely not going to be coming into his side, as it's going to be coming for Adhafang. This one is definitely going there as well. He's going to be arriving at pretty much an empty spot, unfortunately for him. And for the one at the bottom, which is for the cheaper walls and gates, which is probably going to be useful for Symptom, because we have seen him actually use that. We have seen him use that in the last game quite a lot, so that will save him quite a lot of resources. And let's see, in the meantime, for the economy upgrades. Not much for Adhafang going on. Let's check it like this. Right now for Hendax, as he is halfway into Hermes. Just now finishing with the food, but still having at least one boar in here and one crane, so it's not really all that bad. He still can rely on this food source, and still something will actually get there. through the lure. I'm not exactly sure from where. Really sure. But another relic is coming for him. And it is the one for cheaper temporary researches, so that's a nice one. Going to be helping him with the early economy. Fortunately for him, right now going to be raided. As the stable is attempted to be finished. And with the two heresters, I don't really think it's going to be enough army, especially since Adhafang is building right next to his TC. So really wouldn't expect any kind of problems for that. And is he actually going to be trying some centaurs? Because if so, then the cheaper temporary research costs will make a pretty big difference in the centaur polemarks. Right now doesn't seem so. Maybe he's going to be left for the later game and some extra upgrades from Dionysus maybe, or whatever gods he chooses in his path. Well, of course, on the bottom, we have also seen that there was an attempt at the wall by Adhafang, but unfortunately not finished, as the villager has to have taken a refuge in the tower and is going to be waiting for his opportunity to finish with it a bit later. But quite important tower. Relic is right now stolen by Symptom for himself. Nicely hidden Catastropos right next to the TC, both to see it and potentially to allow him some shenanigans in the later ages. But basically just to see it right about now. And otherwise, let's check the economy upgrades, for example, for Blue, who is having just hunting dogs and nothing else so far. So the economy should be, yet again, quite better for the red player. Already having hand axe and pickaxe, of course. Going for the grains at the top, but it's basically the last safe hunt, besides the hippos right in his base. And, well, this could be considered safe as well, I think. As even though it's not really wallable or anything, it still could be in kind of a tricky spot for a Symptom to find, as it's not usually too often that once raiding you will be going on all the corners of the map. So far it seems like the army is slightly better for Symptom, but not really by much. By much, those two heroes will be making quite a lot of difference in here, and he's basically walling his opponent right inside his home base. And that's nicely played, because it allows him some nice strategical positions in here once he builds a gate about here. To retreat from bad engagements and basically really control when the fight, or rather where the fight is going to be taking place. But for that he would have to take care of the wall before it is yet again destroyed, and this is a bit different than last time around, I think, because we are already seeing three stables, and well, it seems like that he's basically going for full-on hippigons, and I think it's prompted by the relic for the faster cavalry speed. Not much action, kinda curious to be honest for this kind of map, as we are almost 8 minutes and nothing much is happening from either side. Bit of scouting going on from Symptom at the bottom. And yeah, going to be finishing with the walling, as he's basically placing the walls all around the map to have some strategical advantage. In making use of the nicely positioned hunt for him as well, of course. He just finished with the longhouse and going for a bit of raiding cavalry. That's, I think, a bit different, because last time around he was going just full on heresies, but right now he isn't. And he's switching into something a bit different, so he's hoping that he can actually raid a bit, but has to be careful, because right now he is the one being raided. And on the food economy in here, and this is a pretty good engagement for him, if he can kill at least a few villagers, no matter if he loses the units. Because with his already stronger economy, he can definitely make up for the deficit in there. The army better than his opponent Symptom. Well, Symptom having quite straight economy, even though he is housed just about now. And Adhafang, well, going for second TC. For the safe one right inside his home base. And otherwise having echo so far, so he definitely can afford all the extra units that he could be making, but he isn't. You can see that he has already switched off his auto queue, and does that mean that actually he wants to advance into the next age? Either that, or he will be attempting a front TC, but at this position, I don't really think it's going to be a clever idea, because he doesn't have all the upgrades. He doesn't have even medium hippigons yet. Oh, this was nice by Symptom. blocking the path in there. And this is all the extra damage that actually Adhafang didn't want to get at all. And he will be forced to start rebuilding his army pretty soon. All those guys are kinda half dead, and even though through the fast relic having 6 speed, that's not half bad, even faster by 500 there from their opponents. Well, interesting indeed. So far he is not doing anything much, just basically booming. Not even having any extra upgrades in here. And having towers, so he's going full on defense right about now, and going to be switching even into farms right now, and going for armory, and exactly as we expected, attempting some faster heroic than his opponent, but I'm not that sure that it's going to be working for him all that much. Upgrading to medium raiders already from Symptom. And do we see armory? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So it's going to be basically raised for the next age from both of these players, as Symptom is already housed and maybe going to be thinking about taking the front TC. Looking at the positioning of the fronts, yeah, this is basically making up for the bad hunt for Adhafang, as the TCs are in pretty bad position for the blue player. Both of them are quite far away from him, and it's going to be basically up to his choice which one he wants to take first, as they are both pretty bad for him. But if he can manage to somehow capture them, they are going to allow him to control the way into his opponent's base quite nicely, and something to fall back to. Okay, so he's selecting this bottom TC as the front one. Just waiting for the extra 100 foot to advance into the next age. And once he does, he's going to be having enough resources for a TC actually. Will be taking the TC right now, I'm fairly certain. Yes. He is. And how about his opponent Adhafang? Kinda overdoing it on the gold, because he was expecting to be dealing, rather making a whole lot of Hippicons extras. But he isn't, and well, food economy is pretty bad. And he's also getting quite nicely walled. Right now he's going to be seeing it. But that's already too late. And Symptom is basically attempting to make him confined inside his home base and making sure that he isn't going anywhere that he wouldn't know. That's nicely played by him. Nicely played. All the walls all around the place. And is he going to be finishing with this one, or rather repairing it? Doesn't seem so, or is he? Oh no, he isn't. Well, that's a shame, he definitely had the opportunity in here. So Aphrodite is coming in. Anyway, walls at the bottom have been breached by Symptom, and well, Adhafang is having quite big problems, because his army right now getting rid of the wall at the top. And with Bragi just coming into place, I'm almost thinking that he could be in a pretty good spot to go for an attack right on. But since he has to be worried about the ceasefire in here, he definitely has to wait for his mythical age to block it. To block the ceasefire through the Fimbul Winter. Finally, Archer ranges. Quite late from what I have to say. And with the curse being cast, basically making up for the deficit in the army, well, this is going to be a moment for Symptom to rethink his ideas. Especially with Nemean Lion right now coming in. But a bit of extra help will be needed with the Herceres, so that the Nemean Lion and the Centaur can be a bit more useful than they are so far. Adhafang unfortunately doesn't have the resources for extra upgrades, he's having just literally no food. Just now confirming the problems that we were predicting at the start of the game with the bad hunt. And he cannot even research into medium Hippicons, which I think is slightly a mistake. Slightly a mistake, and since he could be expecting that his opponent is just going to be advancing into Mythical Age pretty soon to basically play the same strategy as he did in the last game. Actually, somehow not true, because you can see absolutely depleted economy. For Symptom, I'm really curious why Adhafang didn't opt for ceasefire just like that. Basically put himself back on his feet, get some extra crucial upgrades like the medium Hippicons and maybe even heavy already. So that would be really helping him quite a lot, but he did manage to somehow secure the game for himself, or rather the battle for himself, not really the game at all, and force Symptom back. which is basically the same as we have seen on the Highland yet again. We are seeing a lot of similarities in here, and they are yet again going to be caused by missing economy upgrades, right? Well, actually not all that much. Right now he actually has already shaft mine, but still the economy doesn't seem to be strong enough, as he's having big problems replenishing the army, and it is halfway through the fact that actually his military buildings are inside his base. He hasn't rebuilt anything right next to the DC, which is a pretty big mistake by now, to be honest. Should be doing that sooner rather than later. And that means that once he is in a pitched fight with his opponent, who is having much better ability to replenish the units and is having better units to start with, it's leading to basically the same result as on the Highland, and that means having to break off from the battle and allowing your opponent to recuperate in there. But this seems like a pretty strong attack just about now, with Symptom getting up the economy and the stockpile, hoping for the Fimbul Winter sooner. But then it will be too late. Going for a bit of raiding with the piggies, which is of course a pretty good idea, and quite cheeky hill fort, I have to say. Quite cheeky hill fort, and I'm not sure it's going to be working for him. I'm actually right now thinking that it's not going to be working for him, as the Lebanese are having pretty good bonus against buildings. And with all the army right now coming up, let us see if this is going to be working in the Blues' favor or not. Still missing the medium epicons right now for Ada. He's missing like a ton. Still missing the Relic. Not even having Autocue on the last table. So I'm thinking that he's actually waiting for the research. For the ability to research it, but he's definitely losing pretty big time the battle in here. As he is in a pretty tough position, switching into Hypaspis yet again. With normal Hypaspis bar medium toxols if I saw this correctly. Yes, I did. But his opponent is having medium raiders, and on top of that, copper shields is definitely helping against all the fire from the DCs, which are fortified. So that's going to be making things very difficult for his opponent right about now. A bit more conventional position for Hillfort, not right under the nose of his opponent. And this could be finished, because it's a bit further, it's not under the fire of the TC, and with all the mythical units, those 5 wars, well, 4, this one is almost dead with 40 hit points. With the fortified DC, I don't really think that actually Symptom can go into offensive, he doesn't have the strong enough army, but it will really allow him to finish with the hill fort, and that will help him in the military part of his attempts quite strongly. There's something happening at the top, probably. Yeah. Bit of a military, or rather economy, from Adhafang attempting the market, but unfortunately for him, he's going to discover that Symptom has left a longhouse at the top, and he is most definitely gonna get rid of all the villages in there, and potentially even the trade that Adhafang is trying to set up just about now. So Symptom halfway through hell this time around, going for the dragon and the fire giants. And the 30C at the back, of course. Upgrade still the same, nothing groundbreaking, whereas for his opponent, for Adhafang, we are seeing just pickaxe and hand axe, as he is really in a situation where he cannot spare all that many resources. Like literally none, as you can see. He's having a lot of wood. It's something he doesn't need all that much right about now, and switching also into Prodromos. Curious indeed, and let's see if he's going to be making a move on the DC. He definitely is. And that might be an opportunity for ceasefire actually for him. Because Symptom is already waiting for him in there, exactly as he was at the very top. Yeah, walls absolutely everywhere. This is so nicely played by Symptom. So nicely played indeed. And well, this is going to be pretty important, because as soon as Symptom advances, he doesn't have the Fimbul Winter just about now, so that means that he will be hoping that he can force his opponent into casting ceasefire before some kind of bad situation happens. And well, right now he probably wishes that he went for Fimbul Winter, because he could be blocking this TC from coming up through using flame weapons and Fimbul, as he would be denying the ceasefire from his opponent. Nice guard towers by Adhafang, as he's basically recognizing that he cannot spare army on defending on the left side, as he's going to be needing it right next to the TC. and he's basically trying to right now save his ceasefire for the flaming weapons as much as he can, but it's going to be getting increasingly hard due to the big number of the battle bars and still missing upgrades. And right now, we're coming Nidhogg into the battlefield. So Symptom having still just copper shields, whereas Adhafang building towers and going for Hephaestus. Bit of a switch from last time around, and he has finished just now with the TC, which is a pretty huge victory for him, but I'm not sure if for much longer, because obviously those boars are going to be able to get rid of it pretty soon. I would really like for Symptom to send all the boars basically to raid the TCs, and with the ballistas coming up as well, to try to get rid of all the military buildings. A bit of idle army right now for Adhafang. We are going to be seeing a switch into a game where the next important part is going to be exactly keeping this wall up for Adhafang, or rather for Symptom, and protecting this gold, getting rid of this longhouse and not really allowing his opponent to get anywhere close by. So Symptom exactly going where we're hoping for, with the piggies in bronze going for the TC, so that means that curious, really curious. This would be maybe a moment for ceasefire for Adhafang, even through the flaming weapons. I'm not exactly sure, because without the TC he's kinda screwed. Without the extra population limit, I'm not exactly sure what he could be doing. It seems like that Symptom is in a pretty good position, having 2,500 gold, so he can basically buy all the resources for the extra TC. And at this point I would be going for it. I would be just sending all of the guys in there, because he needs to push pretty fast. As once he allows his opponent to prepare with some colossi and such, it could be pretty hard for him, as he will be the one that will be raided. Yes, let's see if Symptom can go for the TC soon enough. Yeah, he can. Nicely played. Nicely played. Extra upgrades, and are we going to be seen right now? Yes, we will. Armory, so that's going to be Forge of Olympus coming up for Adhafang. Yeah, already being researched. That's going to be a pretty good power spike for the Zeus, or rather not really Zeus, for the Greek player. This really needs to get off. It should have been off a long time ago, and right now it's going to be pretty much a disaster. As you can see that Symptom is already preparing for it, but he needs to lose some units somewhere, or finish the TC. Does he have fortified? No, he doesn't! Oh my! Ah, right now he's being researched, so yeah, that's something that will allow him to get some extra population limit. And in the economy, he is well off. Carpenter's flat control query. Oh my, this is going to be looking pretty bad for Adhafang right about now, as he's having just shaft mine, both saw and irrigation, not really having extra upgrades just yet. And once the TC is under the power of the blue player, oh well, all hell will break loose. Where is the Nidhogg? I would be liking him to go for raiding on the trade and all the willies at the top. But where is he? Is he already dead? No, he isn't. He's well alive. Just 300 damage to him. So right now with the finished TC, he should be coming to the top, as all the army from Adhafang is also moving in there. Still without any kind of upgrades from him. Even though he is having the resources just about now. And let's see what he's going to be choosing. Don't really see any kind of upgrades, but he is being assaulted from the bottom by ballistas, and by that nicely guarded by the towers, or rather by the walls of Symptom. And this is also pretty good destruction derby. Getting rid of the trade and also housing his opponents. Oh well. And finally Nidhogg is gonna get a few toasts in here. Getting rid of absolutely everything. So yeah, just ignore the Colossus, please. Go for the villages. It'll be much better and much more effective for you. But this is really pretty tough for Adhafang, because he is having just Hippolyta, and just Hippolyta is actually a ranged hero for him. And oh my. Wow. Oh well. Oh well, that's pretty bad. So they are almost basically dead. It's going to be a question of time before they are caught up with. Not by the Nidhogg, I think, because they are still having 380 speed. Actually, the Nidhogg is faster for 14, so he will be catching up with them, but not all that fast. And well, they're probably gonna get killed by something else, like the Hersier or the Raiding Cavalry. Right now, Hippolyta up for her job. against the dragon. Yep, and she is where she's supposed to be, and all the villages of course getting killed. Because it was a nice idea for Adhafang, but he kinda halfway forgot that all those guys are basically dead through all the extra grilling shots by the Nighthawk, and oh, this is a so bad idea. Another bunch of that. Well, not going all that well for Adhafang right about now, especially since he is under pretty heavy attack on the left as well, through all the siege units in here, and even though he's defending quite nicely with the Prodroma and such, he doesn't have any upgrades at all. He's having just the irons, because they are the dirt cheap, once you have actually the Forge of Falling boost, but no line upgrades, which are making a ton of difference. Not even all those towers are going to be enough in here. I'm pretty sure about that. Yeah, well, so the gold is not going to be all that safe on the right side so far, but since he is, Adhafang switching quite nicely into the boats in here. This is definitely a pretty good idea. He's going to be controlling this part of the map, and this should be in range. Because the water ends about here, this should be in range. Should be in range with the Clage. I'm fairly certain that it should be. Let's see how this is developed, because this is a pretty good idea, the water from Adhafang, and he could be really making life very difficult for his opponent, even through the very nice trade that is already going on for the blue player. This seems like a pretty nice attempt by Adhafang, who is attempting to go forward as he has built a fortress, and is finally having some extra siege for him. And even though this really looks that it should be a pretty easy game for Symptom, it's anything but, as Adhafang is playing so nicely and doing so good job in defending his own base. With medium to sword still, really, those upgrades are so missing. He does have some kind of resources now, so he could be going for I don't know what. Not exactly certain. I would be probably going for Hippa's fists big time. Already going for them, but really no upgrades still. But getting rid of the Hell Force is going to be pretty important for his game. And if he could be getting rid of the one that is right now being built, I'm liking his chances. And this is... oh, this is making me think. Actually, militias could be his free army, because if he can just spam buildings, he does have a lot of wood. If he can just spam a lot of buildings, like even granaries or storehouses or anything, and let his opponent destroy them, he would be getting a whole lot of extra army for free, and it's a good army. Militias are not half bad, 100 hit points, good shields, 9 attack, it's not really half bad. And if he doesn't have the resources for normal army, this could really be something that will be helping him basically make up for the deficits in here. But, well, not going to be easy at all, as he is, of course, yet again raided on the water, as of course docks are going to be built by Symptom as well, as Adhafang basically gave him the idea what to do. And well, I'm not really sure that Adhafang can be fighting long term on two fronts at once. Still Nighthawk very much alive with half hit points, as Hippolyta is in all kinds of troubles. Getting rid of that one, as she actually died, it seems like. And with the towers being built absolutely everywhere, well, Adhafang is going to be nearing a moment where he could be quite happy about the game, or rather kinda calm about the game, as they should be helping him quite nicely to defend not only against the water, but against the raiding on the trade route and getting rid of the Nighthawk as well. As you can see, he is suffering so much damage by the towers. Oh my, this was a tough break for him. And with all the military academies in here dropping up, yeah, it's looking like that this gold is going to be Adhafang's for the time being, and the trade route as well. As at the bottom, it doesn't seem like that actually Symptom is having enough push, which is very curious, and I'm thinking that he doesn't have pop. Because... oh, he does? So what's wrong actually? How can he have 4 population pop limit and not be beaten 2 town center Poseidon without any kind of upgrades? Finally, at least medium with Aspis or any kind of upgrades. He does have the armory upgrades, but still, this is really baffling me, to be honest. Baffling altogether. Bronze shields, bronze mail, and copper weapons, so it's not really bad. Could be better, of course, but not bad at all. And it's looking like that actually Symptom is missing just the siege, Because if he's building an army and going against all those towers is of course not going to be all that easy to push through. And that seems to be the problem for him just about now. But since he is right now concentrated on one side with the fire giants and the ballistas. This could be a good opportunity for him to push through. And especially with a very nice sneaky build at the top, it's going to be a pretty big problem for Adhafang pretty soon, even though he is well aware and is attempting to put a stop to it. All the upgrades on the tower actually. Crenellations, guard tower, fires, absolutely everything for him. And well, he's them literally everywhere. So this is very nicely played by him, and well, kinda curious why Symptom isn't having all that or other extra upgrades. He's having finally at least iron shields, but still missing iron mail, and getting better weapons definitely, as he's having such a huge amount of gold that he can buy absolutely everything. Absolutely everything. He should be wrecking his opponent very easily. Siege engineers or other normal engineers are in there also. But it seems like this is going to be a pretty important push for him, and he needs to be really careful about letting anything through the gates, as those walls are quite important for keeping the ballistas alive. And well, if he can manage that, he will be in a pretty good position to assault the TC, and really put Adhafang into kind of an impossible situation overall. 28 minutes in, already 29. Still normal cavalry. Medium toxots. Let's switch it to Adhafang's point of view, and yeah, he's at least getting up in the population limit, but still the economy is not really good at all. Even through the nice upgrades, but he is missing the last upgrade on the farms, and it could be really could be using it quite a lot, as he is low on the food overall. So low overall, and wow, that is massacre of donkeys. You know, killed somewhere at the top, I would be expecting through the radiant. And well, with the upgrade into fire giants, well, with the ballistas in here being in pretty good numbers and getting into all those archers and the Petroboli with the Fenris right about now, it's looking quite dire for Adhafang, as I'm not sure if he can actually keep this TC up. It's just the army that is quite passive and unable to get anywhere else than just right next to the TC, and yeah, he's basically unable so far to get somehow on the ballistas, attempting to do so through the Prodromos and maybe even through the Colossus, but not really all that much by now. He definitely needs the population limit, and once he drops the TC even, well, let's see. Ceasefire maybe? Not going for it, as he's basically keeping it for blocking the flaming weapons. As at this stage, well, we could be thinking that ceasefire could actually help him to get himself back on his feet right about now. Yes, get some crucial needed upgrades, because right now he definitely should be investing a lot in the line upgrades. Should be doing that just about now. Do absolutely everything, going for heavy archers. Should be going for heavy, what is it called, infantry as well. And I would be liking himself to get at least mediums, if not heavy, cavalry as well, as basically they are good for Poseidon, so why not? They could be helping quite nicely getting rid of all those nonsense ballistas and such. Well, you can see that right now Symptom on the right side is trying to get rid of the water altogether. Well, those donkeys need to be starting traveling just about now, and 800 gold left, which is going to be the last gold on the map for Adhafang, as there is still one in the middle for a Symptom, but well, that's absolutely outside of the reach of the red player. Heavy Toxots still missing the last shields. Going for that sooner rather than later. Having bronze weapons at least, but iron mail, iron shield, so he's going to be fully upgraded pretty soon. Yeah, getting hammered pretty heavily by the ballistas in here, because they are not really half bad, but with the pretty tanky Colossi, and Polyphemus not being half bad himself in the tankiness with 700 hit points, well, there is a pretty good opportunity, and way through the forest, even on the left, to get right on the ballistas in here, And let's see if actually Adhafang is going to be able to push out enough units in time. So far it doesn't seem that he is, as he's also under pretty heavy pressure on the left, or rather at the top. Finally finished tower by Symptom, as he is. Attempting to out units in there. Quite big numbers. And Adhafang even going for a Titan. That's gutsy. That's quite gutsy for him. But to be honest, it's probably his last chance, because he's definitely not pushing through. You can see that he's unable to get rid of the DC. Right now he's going to be attempting it. Damn good idea. Damn good idea, but unfortunately I think it's kind of a bit too late, because he should have timed it correctly together with when he was casting the ceasefire for the DC, because you can see that basically the ceasefire was wasted, as the DC is yet again down. So he's dropped to just 1, and even though Symptom might be dropped to 3, it's just a pretty big advantage still. And looking at the army, Adhafang is having absolutely none, as he doesn't have the population limit for it, quite simply. His opponent is having all that he can get, and he's gonna get rid of all the towers in here, and it's going to be making it all that easier for Symptom to gather the DC for himself. Well, Fire Giant feel like the MVP in here. He's going to be attempting to get rid of it. Having pretty decent attack against all the buildings, and of course against the boats as well. So probably Adhafang should be attempting a bit more in there. And well, yeah, it doesn't seem like this front base from Symptom is going to be coming anywhere else sometime soon. So Adhafang right now going for the Titan. And is there any kind of push for his opponent to go for? It's not going to be easy. There are a lot of buildings, but still there should be a pretty easy way through the middle, right next to the Titan gate in here. So I'm not really seeing how Adhafang could be built, or rather fighting against that all that easily. As you can see, that he's horribly housed, and even if he builds all the extra houses so that he is at least on the 115 population limit, it's still not going to be enough at all, as he has literally nothing in there. Those few guys are going to be getting rid of absolutely anything that is threatening all those military units in there. But DC unfortunately wasn't finished, as the Fire Giant was strong enough to get rid of the siege boats in there, and even though the trade route is coming quite strong, it's not going to be all that effective, and this guy is gonna get that right now. Being replaced by another, and it's looking that right now the Titan gate is under fire, and the moments, the time for Adhafang is getting pretty dire indeed. The attempt at the TC has been foiled, as Symptom was thinking that he can actually take the TC. But with the amount of towers, it's not really all that easy, and since Adhafang is not really giving up on that, he's having a huge amount of wood, so he definitely can even sell it to get extra resources for his towers. It's still more or less, at least, not falling into the enemy's hands. But I'm not really sure, rather I'm pretty sure that it's not really enough to win in the game overall. But still, yet again, Symptom having all kinds of troubles closing the game. Really, just speaking to Adhafang's ability to keep the game alive. But he's still missing a lot of upgrades, and oh, that's kinda curious just that right now he's missing so many upgrades. Because he's having a lot of extra economy, and he's basically, I think right now, waiting to build as many towers as he can, and then he's going to be attempting the TC. But with the Titan being halfway there, well, I'm not exactly sure if I like it all that much. It is some kind of chance for Adhafang to go for TCs and destroy the TCs of his opponents. But still, I'm fairly certain that he cannot be strong enough, or rather fast enough. And since Titan is 20 population, he's going to be totally dead. He won't be able to push any kind of army out, like at all. And I'm really curious why Symptom is kind of waiting with his flaming weapons. Because if he casts them about now, he could be just steamrolling through all the buildings in there, like absolutely through all of them. He's probably right now thinking that he can get at least the TC for himself, and probably should be. Probably should be. And finally going for the flaming weapons, as that will definitely help him, because right now Symptom is probably popped. Yes, he's almost popped, so he is in a pretty good position. And it's a pretty good time for him, so he's going to be attempting to assault the Titan Gate and also get rid of absolutely everything in his path just about now. Kinda curiously not going to be finishing with the DC. Kinda really chaotic play by Symptom just about now. He doesn't really he doesn't really know what to do first, if he wants to go for the Titan Gate or to finish the DC. So right now he was thinking that he can finish the DC before he needs to go for the Titan Gate, but it's definitely not true. He needs to send all his strength and all his army on the Titan Gate because it was almost finishing here. 89%. Enemy weapons kinda getting off. Just a few seconds. But a lot of villagers right now paid with their lives in attempting to free the Titan from his underground prison. The situation getting pretty bad for him, as Adhafang is actually the one attempting the DC at the bottom, but unfortunately, through the ballistas in here, yeah, not really long-lasting effort it seems like, and it's going to be all about the Titan Gate and surviving villagers, because if the villagers cannot survive, or rather if enough villagers cannot survive just about now, he's gonna be having basically that economy, opposed to the resources of Symptom. And even though Adhafang is still having quite a decent amount of resources as well, so he can even sell in his market. This is still not a decided game at all. As you can see, Symptom really still unable to push through, no matter what he does. 4 TCs against 1 TC, and Adhafang is somehow defending. He's still somehow defending. It's absolutely amazing. Well, Poseidon was definitely living up to his denomination as the hero in here. I think it's still very much alive, but not really getting up all that much. But with all the mythical units right now coming up and the ballistas into the battlefield, it's really looking like that Symptom is finally able to establish himself inside the opponent's base, and Adhafang doesn't have enough push anymore because he doesn't have the towers. They are all on the left. But if he had some ability to build the towers in here, or if he had the towers in the middle, finally heavy infantry at the nick of time in here, he would be in a pretty good position to defend more. But right now he really cannot push further. He cannot push forward in here at all, and those ballistas are going to be keeping the Titan Gate from getting finished. And I don't see how he can even keep the town center alive. There's not much of a chance for that, like at all about now. You can see even the military advantage is getting quite strongly into Symptom, for Symptom. And since there is not much happening else on the map, this is the main battlefield for the game, and it seems like that it might be the last, because this is a pretty strong push against the last TC of Adhafang. He's not even attempting to build the one at the bottom, as he simply cannot due to all the ballistas, but still building the towers. But well, DC is down, Adhafang is at 0, and still defending at least the Titan Gate at the top. But right now, without the supportive fire of the DC, yes, finally Adhafang is seeing, after like what we have seen, basically evident for like 20 minutes, that the game is not going to be all that easy for him, that it is not going to be able to be turned into his victory, like at all. Well, this was an interesting 40-minute game. Really kinda amazing. How was Adhafang able to defend all this time? Since Symptom was having all the upgrades, the line upgrades, and the armory as well, even though it has to be said that Adhafang was having the armory upgrades, the cheap ones, from Forge of Olympus, but still he was having 4 TCs for basically the whole game, or rather the whole late game, whereas Adhafang was having 2, 1, and then 0, which is definitely, rather, in the end, what did him? Well, very interesting game indeed. So let's check the post game, which curiously enough is won by Symptom by just 600 points. It's like absolutely impossible. He was hammering Adhafang like super hard. So where is the difference score? Really funny. Funny scores indeed. So much stronger echo by Symptom. That's 15,000, 10,000, 25, that's like 35, 40,000 resources more for Symptom. And he was having so big problems pushing through. Well, indeed. Just indeed, right there. Well, GG.